Genesis 36 and 37 present to us a picture of two lines, the line of Esau in chapter 36 and the line of Jacob in chapter 37. And you would expect from the previous stories that wicked and evilness would happen through the line of Esau, but rather we see the line of Jacob rather quickly commit an evil act while their father Israel, Jacob, is still alive. So Jacob's son Joseph has a dream, and in this dream he has this kind of picture of the moon and stars bowing down to him, which he interprets to be his brothers, but his brothers aren't really pleased by this, and it's not one of these things where he's saying, you guys are going to be worse to me. He's perplexed by it, and it's the Lord showing him a future event that will happen after famine in Egypt and so on and so forth. But his brothers, as my cat Tucker says hi, come and are upset with his dreaming. He says, here comes this dreamer. They're annoyed by him. And so they take him, and you know the story, they throw him in a well and take blood and dip his robe in it and make his father believe that he's dead. Now, this is a story that if you know the end of it, turns out to be good. Famous line, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. But it's a reminder for us that even if we come from a godly family, even if we're in the church, even if we're in the godly line, so to speak, there is still sin and evil and wickedness that can rise up in our own hearts that we must turn against. All right, so there's a constant reminder of bad things don't just happen because we're in bad areas or from bad lines or cities. Bad things happen because there is evil within all of us. And until we turn to Christ, that evil is paramount. That evil is extant. It might not manifest every day. You might say that person doesn't seem that bad. But remember the selfishness that is in each person. The desire for self-worship and self-preservation to lift one up above all else is innate within all of us. So until we turn to God, until God changes our hearts, that's going to be there in people. So we can't change others. Well, we can preach the gospel to them, but we can ask the Lord to change our heart, call on the Spirit to change our desires. And it's one of those things where God will indeed change us. That doesn't mean we won't struggle against certain temptations or thinkings, old habits, but there's a change that God does bring about and transforms us. But don't think just because we're transformed, then, that because of that everyone around us and our family and our children, and they're just going to be godly because we're godly. There's a need to continue the lineage, to continue to train and teach and bring about the workings of God, if you will, in the lives of those around us. And obviously we can't force that, right, in the sense of force God to work. But what I mean by that is discipleship, training, understanding that each generation has to pass the faith and the practice and the godly mindset to the next, because we've all seen many people that probably have been raised in the church and God's done a mighty move in their life, brought them out of gangs and drugs and all these things, and then you see their kids, and their kids are just kind of aloof because they didn't come out of that. They don't know the transformation, so to them it's just stories. And oftentimes they expect their kids just to follow in their ways. But we have to train our children. We have to train the next generation. It doesn't happen automatically. We have to be obedient to the Lord, and ultimately, as New Testament Christians, right, to go and to make disciples of all the nations. But it really starts with us here at home, with our children, with our family, with the people closest to us, and builds out. Have a blessed morning. We'll see you soon.